Hi, friends. Welcome back to Dead Funny University. And today our visiting professor is Bre. Welcome, Bre. How are you?
Good. Fantabulous. Hi.
Hi. We are so glad to have you here at Dead Funny University. And I am super excited because today you're going to teach me about The Walking Dead. Do you feel ready to talk about this?
I feel pretty ready. I've watched, how many seasons? 5? I stopped watching it at a certain point because of certain situations, but I'm excited to talk to you about it. I'm really more excited about the video game probably because I like the video game a lot, but I think it's worth talking to you about. Yeah.
All right. Well, this is going to be the first Dead Funny University where we're going to talk about both the TV show and the video game and not just one or the other. So it sounds like maybe we might need to start in the TV show. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think it's probably the best place to start.
Okay. Well,
I
on
agree.
Dead Funny University, we always start with a quiz because I know that I know nothing about The Walking Dead, but we may need to prove to our audience that I genuinely know nothing. Now, I enjoy being very confident about my answers, no matter what the true answer is. So, please hit me with your quiz. I intend to ace it.
Okay. Let's see. What is the Walking Dead TV series based on?
The whole notion of zombies.
No. Where did it come from? The story.
Someone's brain about zombies.
A comic book series.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
Black and white comic book series. Okay. What spin-off was created on the original Walking Dead series? What TV series spin-off?
Given that this is the only part of The Walking Dead I know anything about, I'm going to assume a spin-off that is just hour-long episodes of someone screaming Carl at the screen?
No. Good guess, though. Good guess. They created a different TV series called Fear the Walking Dead, and that one was more of like a huge city-based type Walking Dead versus the original was kind of like country out in the middle of nowhere. This one was like, I think it was Las Vegas, but I can't remember which big city it was. It was somewhere over there on the West Coast.
And you said, what was the name of that?
Fear the Walking Dead?
Fear of the Walking Dead. Okay.
Fear the Walking Dead, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
What? You kind of made reference to this already, so I mean, I don't. You may know it. What popular meme came from the Walking Dead series?
Carl? That's all I know about the meme. I've seen it, but I don't understand it.
Carl, that
I
kills people.
Now that I have seen, and that has nothing to do with this.
No, that's the Walking Dead.
Liar.
It's a Walking Dead meme. It is.
No, that's llamas with hats.
I know it's from Llamas with Hats, but it's a Walking Dead meme too.
Really? And it's just probably using the same Carl moment that's otherwise memed?
Oh my god! Now I really wish I had watched that over again because when I first saw that meme, I'm pretty sure it had to do with that part of the show. Like in that episode, what did it happen? Now I wish I had
Now
watched
I need
that
to
again.
know which one came first. Was because The Walking Dead, how old is that? Do you know when that started?
2010. Oh, the other one definitely came first.
That's what I thought. I thought llamas with hats came first.
It definitely in that section, he like I remember specifically, like because I laughed at this. Rick, which is the older guy, was like Carl, like he was going over the top. I remember that specifically, so I know that's why the Carl thing's made fun of. But I don't. That kills people. I can't remember if that came out, like if that was said or something.
Oh, I'll bet you anything that's a reference back to llamas with hats.
I think I remember specifically. Yeah, now I remember why this happened. So, are you am I allowed to tell you spoilers or like I don't know how is?
Oh yeah, this whole thing is we're teaching Kelsey about this, which means spoiler away. Go for it.
Okay, so that moment in particular was Carl. And I sent you the meme. You can see it. Carl just basically killed his mother because she had been pregnant and had a baby and died while having the baby. I think this is the moment. And then he came out, and Rick was like, basically, where is she, essentially? And Carl didn't say anything, and Rick was like really upset.
Okay, so that look on Rick's face is genuine upsetness.
Yeah.
He's not mocking. Okay, I always thought something bad had happened and the kid was upset and the adult was mocking him. See, I don't know anything about this.
No, it's like a really horrible, sad moment within the Walking Dead series.
Oh, and so we made a bunch of funny memes about it. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
People suck. Okay.
So,
any other questions for me to start this off?
I think I only did 3 so far.
Oh. Is 3 all you got?
I got 5. I was told 5.
Yeah.
What is the best choice, and this is more maybe a personal opinion, what is the best choice of weapon in a post-apocalyptic world in the Walking Dead series?
A baseball bat? A katana?
Yeah, I would say the best one in the series is definitely a katana because, well, it seems like they have a lot of guns, but okay, so if you had endless supply of guns would definitely be a winner when it comes to fighting them. But if for eventually where you may not be able to make guns, I feel like a katana or some sort of sharp sword would be a very good option. What year did the first season of The Walking Dead air?
I think you told me 2010.
I did tell you that. You somehow got it out of me.
I am the trickster student. Fear me.
Okay. So that was all my questions.
Okay. So I think I got one of those, but I definitely cheated, so I don't think that counts. So with that in mind, and me not doing particularly well, have we established I don't know anything about The Walking Dead, in your opinion? All right. Give me what is base level knowledge that I should know about The Walking Dead.
Okay, so the TV series The Walking Dead is basically, in the beginning, it starts off with the standard, you're living your normal life, all of a sudden things change, and there's zombies starting to spawn, right? And people are dying. So, like, it goes through these phases, the series does, of starting off with learning how to deal with the walkers. They call them the walkers. And how do you initially go from living that normal life to having to scrounge for food, fight off these zombies, and still keep kind of relationships and be normal. Then in the middle part of it, it went to being able to fight the walkers. Then at the end part, it kind of implied, more towards the end of the series, it's now implying that they've gotten it down how to kind of fight the walkers. They can really just make them do what they want them to do. Now it's more based off of person-on-person wars, basically. So the zombies are just kind of things they deal with, and now the big threats are different civilizations. So that's like a really broad view.
So this really goes from, this is life, this is new kind of life, how do we master this? And once we master this, we go right back to fighting each other?
Yeah.
Oh, great. That makes me feel real good. Okay.
Yeah.
So who are the major characters, the major people that we think are significant, whose names would kind of help me understand more plot things that we may get into in a few minutes?
There's like, the series has gone on for so long, there's like different significant people in different portions, but I would say the biggest player is Rick, which is the person that you saw in the picture. That's the dad. He's been the leader since almost day one. He's an ex-cop, like, basically because the world's ending. So he's the leader of the group. He makes the decisions. He's a badass. And I think Carl's also another big player, and he kind of brings an innocence into the show where you're seeing a child grow up in that type of environment, and you kind of have a lot of feels for what he's going through and how he kind of knows a little bit of what the real world's like, but this is now his reality. So he's actually like more of a badass hardcore person than any of those other people are, because that's what he's growing up in. And basically the whole show revolves around groups, leaderships, growing together, fighting together. uh you lose people once in a while, but those are the two biggest players. Then there's a badass girl called Michonne. I don't You may have seen her. Michonne's the I think dual katanas. Why am I thinking two? No. Anyway, she's the katana wielding badass that has the two walkers on chains. Have you ever seen her? Pictures
No.
of her?
I wasn't
Uh,
even sure if there were women in this particular thing. So, okay.
I don't know. I was thinking dual wield. I think I was thinking of Deadpool for a second. But she's a katana, and she's super badass. She's actually my favorite character on the show, and basically she can take on any walker. She kills them with a katana, and she shows them what's up. There's also another development with another character. I'm doing it. Oh yeah. So Maggie, towards the end of the season, is also a leader. She's grown a lot. I mean, it's hard to explain because there's so many freaking characters. The like Maggie is someone who they found. See, I feel like I'm gonna get confusing if I just keep skipping around because there's so many of them. The big important people are Rick, Carl, Daryl, and Michonne, and Maggie. So those are probably the five originals. And each of
Okay.
them have pretty much grown into a leadership position.
Okay. So finish telling me about Maggie and then tell me about Daryl.
Okay. Maggie was a person they found on the farm. She's pretty much at this point lost all of her family, and I wouldn't say she had much leadership going on before she lost them, and I think it kind of make her cold and vengeful, and uh she I mean she always been kind of a badass, but when it got to the end, she just became a leader because she fell in love with this person named Glenn. So Daryl's kind of like a redneck and a country boy. He has a bow and arrow. He likes to stick up for people. He definitely, I think, is considered one of the hot guys in the group. Like people, like the girls, like him. Glenn was the boyfriend of Maggie. I believe he proposed to her too, and he's kind of like the techie slash sneaky guy that could basically get into situations and get out without being seen type thing. We talked about Michonne, and one of the other persons who was in there for a long time was Carol. She was originally in there the basically abused mother. Her husband was very abusive towards her, and I would say the best thing you could think about her is just being very quiet, not very aggressive, doesn't stand up for herself like that. They really strongly pushed that she was just kind of there. And then finally, when the guy passed away, she started becoming stronger. She started standing up for herself, and then now she's just like a complete badass, like the complete opposite. She's probably the most character development in the series. Just going from what she was to now, she doesn't take anyone's shit.
Okay. So it sounds like we've got a lot of character development for each of these. So it sounds like they didn't take the opportunity to just be like, meh, we're going to leave them stagnant, which is really kind of cool because that's not always the case.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the character development was pretty good in these. Some of it may have gone too far in well, no, I think I liked most of it. Yeah. I don't think they did wrong to too many people. I'll talk about how I don't like the way the series is going, but yeah, I think that they did good on character development.
Okay. Carl is Rick's child, right?
Yeah, Carl is Rick's child, and then Lori is Carl's mom. And I didn't put out Lori as one of the main characters. There's just so many fucking characters. But yeah, she was with Shane, and then Shane was another person. Shane was basically the evil villain for the first two seasons. He kind of went quickly into the world. Like, I think Shane was 2-3 seasons ahead of all the other characters. That's what made him evil. So while maybe the characters that were there would do that, what Shane was doing now,
Mhm.
they weren't at that point. So Shane was definitely kind of like, we just need to get this done, need to make sure this doesn't happen, we need to kill this person, whatever. Like, he was just that kind of style, kind of going crazy, it seemed, earlier than some of the others were. And he was a cop also, so that's how he knew Rick. And um, basically what happened is Rick was in the hospital. He woke up. Lori and Shane and Carl thought that he was dead, so the three of them were together trying to survive. Shane and Lori got into a relationship, and then Rick comes back, and he's like, "What's going on?" So I think he took it really well. It just didn't end well for Shane, because Shane tried to kill Rick, and then Rick killed him before Shane could kill him.
Okay, so we got Rick, Lori, and Shane. Rick's in a hospital bed, not doing well. Shane and Lori are in beds, doing well. And then Rick comes back, and at that point, we've got weird relationships going on. Lori ends up pregnant somehow, and is that
Yeah.
how she dies for that memeable moment?
Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah. So they don't know whether it's Shane's baby or Rick's baby, but they just kind of accept that in the world they're in, they're probably not going to know, and it is what it is. What happened? They thought he was dead. So yeah, she ends up dying, giving birth to the other child, who is alive through most of the series. I don't
Oh, okay, so that child actually lives. I figured if she died, the child died with her, but
No,
okay.
she died giving birth. That was it. Yeah.
And did she die before or after Shane did?
After. Yeah, it was a
Okay.
while. It was, I want to say, like, maybe season 4 or 5 she died. It was whenever they were at the prison. So, like, the series revolves around locations,
Okay, so what are the major
being fights.
locations?
First one was in the woods in their camp, and then they moved to a farm, and that was where they spent a lot of time fighting. Then it was a prison. Then it was a railroad location, and then it was, what was the last part? I can't remember when the town came up, but there's some few towns that they'd gone to that had put up significant barriers to keep out walkers. So remember, guys, though, when I'm talking about this, I have not seen, I think, probably the most 3 recent seasons, because I really got bored of the series. I think the series was magnificent for, like, the first 5 seasons, and I think it was good because it had a lot of character development. It had them fighting the walkers, surviving, the love, relationships, and then when it got to the last seasons where they were in that town with, what was her name? I need to think. It's kind of when Negan came into play. Negan is a huge badass, like, literally probably the best villain I've ever seen. So I said it gets boring, but he has a baseball bat. Is that why you said a baseball bat before?
No,
No. I don't know if
I
maybe you've seen him.
guess.
He calls it Lucy, and it has a bunch of barbed wire around it, and, like, that's his weapon of choice. And, like, they had a huge moment at the start of one of the seasons where they killed off 2 major characters and actually bashed their skulls in, essentially. Yeah,
Holy crap.
that's how, like, they got to, like, Negan rules by fear. So if he killed 2 of them, then the rest of them will fear him. it's like he's a big manipulator. So that's when Glenn died, essentially. Yeah, not essentially. That is when Glenn died. He bashed his head in, and Maggie, essentially at that point, was pregnant and became the leader of the group and wanted to seek her revenge on Negan. So it was actually really upsetting too, because and I think that may be another part of why the series starts to get boring, because they like to fuck with you, and you were so upset that Glenn almost died one time, which he almost did. You really thought you lost him, and then they go and kill him off again. Like, you don't do that to me twice. You kill someone else off. If he lived, you let him live. So that was interesting, but it got boring because they started doing full episodes dedicated to each person instead of going and actually moving the plot line. So you were moving like 5 feet in a whole season. That's what it felt like.
Oof,
Yeah.
that's hard. That gets really slow.
Right. So the series was good when it was able to move the plot, and it started getting bad when it started worrying about showing what every single fucking person's doing, because all the characters were getting big and people wanted to see it. They thought. I mean, I want to see my characters, but I want the plot to move on too. So I think that was one of the biggest problems with the series.
Okay, got it. So you said Glenn was one of the major characters that was killed. Was there another that Negan killed, or was it just Glenn?
He killed Abraham. Abraham wasn't like a big character, but he was a military guy and had been with them for a little bit. So basically, I think it ended the series with him basically selecting a character to kill, and then it started the new season with him killing people. So that's
Man,
why it was
okay.
huge. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and they have some characters now in there that it just you don't connect to, necessarily care about. And this could just be my opinion, but I think that there's just too many storylines going on.
Okay. Now, just because I have to ask, how would it... Game of Thrones is known for having tons of characters and crazy storylines. How does this compare to Game of Thrones? Because they make it pretty clear and pretty manageable, so...
Game of Thrones is amazing. It doesn't compare to The Walking Dead. I'm trying to pinpoint exactly why it's different. I feel like I don't feel like they commit a whole episode though to one person normally. Don't they?
No, they will in rare circumstances, but even... I don't even know if that... No, they'll commit scenes, like flashbacks to explain little things, but they don't... It's not one episode explaining all of how the imp became the imp kind of thing. Like, no.
I don't necessarily think The Walking Dead did that. I can't specifically remember, but they spent too much time on people you don't care about. So like not main characters. Like they spent what's her name? Tara Chambler. They spent a very significant amount of time on her out near the beach because she was with some woman group that were pretty much all females because I believe all the males died or something. And they spent way too much time in that. They focus a lot on the preacher. It's like all these off characters when really you just want main stories of Carol, Rick, Carl. Like you don't really want these off characters, and they have too many characters that they're trying to focus on, and I think that's the real issue. And I know Game of Thrones has a decent amount of characters, but they do it well. So I can't necessarily pinpoint what they do better.
Okay. Now, one of the questions you asked me was if I knew where this came from. You said it came from a comic book. So is the comic book, does it have as many characters as the show? Like, is that where the show's getting all of what they have to go do? Is this, the person that you just mentioned, did she become really big in the comic books and the comic book fans loved her, so they went, oh, I guess we have to start putting her in our TV show and kind of like trying to throw her in? Or do we know anything about that?
No. I don't know anything about the comics. I think I know that Michonne's in the comics. But that would just be me saying that I think that's what I heard. I don't know much about it. So I can't talk much about the comics. I don't know where they pulled the people from. If I looked it up, I could tell you, but yeah, I don't know much about. I can look
Okay.
maybe if I just quickly type list of characters in Walking Dead comic.
It's probably huge.
Yeah, but I was
Just
just wanting to see if the names
oh
were
yeah.
at all similar. This list is not helpful. What? Why is there green, red, and blue boxes? It looks like Rick, Carl, Lori. But this is just Wikipedia, so who knows?
Okay. So to move on to a different subject. So walkers, zombies. One of the big things right now to do with zombies right now is make them a whole bunch of different types of zombies that do different things and react different ways and are different sizes. Do they do that at all, or are all zombies pretty much the same? Tell me about the walkers.
I think they kept the walkers pretty consistent in how they kill people, how they move, how they die. The storyline's pretty consistent there. The only thing that kind of changes is like if the zombies been in water or if the zombies been rotting for a while. So like if it's in water, it's more soggy. If it's they had one part where it fell down a well-ish type thing. I don't remember exactly what it was called. And it basically was huge, fat, blistering walker that like when they tried to grab its skin would just like fall apart and yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what the walkers do. And they're slow, they're not fast. They bite people, that kills them. But also one of the biggest thing about this series that not always in other series that is that if a person dies, they still turn into a zombie, even if they didn't get bit, because the virus is not bit-borne or just airborne. It's already it's in everyone's systems already. Actually, I think it's because it is airborne. That's why it's in everyone's systems. I can't remember exactly why, but everyone has it essentially. And if they die from natural causes, they will turn into a zombie. So that creates even more of a threat because people can die in their sleep and you can think you're safe, and all of a sudden someone's turned and they're attacking you in the middle of the night.
Okay, so the thing that's zombifying people is a virus that appeared at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have to like consume this virus while you're alive to then turns into a zombie, or does it actually does it turn people that have been dead for a while into zombies? So can we have corpses rising up?
No corpses rising up. No. Now,
do these zombies hunger for brains, or do they just hunger for human flesh?
Flesh. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
they
human flesh.
Eat people.
Yes.
And are they mindless?
Yes. Yeah, they're mindless. I'm just trying to think if there's any moments where they aren't mindless. Yeah. So they're mindless, but they also one of the biggest things that they started doing towards the end of the series when supposedly people are not as much around because there's more zombies is herds start happening. So they actually start talking about herd mentality and these walkers are walking in herds over mass landscapes, so you can just see a bunch of them, and that creates a huge threat to people because they're just able to push down walls or
oh, okay.
Because there's so many of them, they'll break down walls.
Do animals turn into zombies too, or is it just people?
Just people that I know of. I don't remember seeing any animals that turned.
Okay. Now, kind of one of the definitions to mindless to me is that they'll hurt themselves or run into traps and things like that trying to get to their quarry because they can't rationalize oh yeah, that's a trap that's going to hurt me.
No, yeah, that's what they do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so they have no sense of self-preservation. They're just completely motivated by, I want to eat that. I'm going to go eat that.
Yeah, okay. Because they had spikes outside the prison and the walkers would just walk straight into them. They don't care. They're mindless in that sense.
Well, At least they're not crafty, because that would really suck.
Yeah, scary thing to me is like that video, that movie series that had the zombies that could like run super fast. I'm like, nope, nope. What was it, like Z-Day or something?
There's been various ones. I'm not quite sure. I never saw Z-Day, but yeah, it's been really interesting to see the different media forms of changing zombies and making them interesting, because some of the video game stuff has been really cool. So
Right. And then now we've gotten to a point where we've had so much zombie videos, they're coming out with TV series that have zombies you can relate to. So, and what is it called? iZombie?
iZombie, yeah. I
There's
did not
another
watch
one.
that.
There's another one where the zombies started to like actually come to life and be a human, and it was like at the airport, wasn't it? Do you remember that one?
I did not see that one or hear about
Oh.
that one.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like now we're humanizing zombies. I'm like, that doesn't, like, they're zombies. Like, now being the purpose and them being zombies and mindless when you give them a mind.
Oh, wait. I don't think she's a zombie, but are you thinking of the Santa Clara diet where she starts eating people?
No, but I like that show a lot, by the way.
That show I started watching with one of our close friends, actually, who doesn't do gore very much, and it was the first time I think in one of the first couple episodes, she like rips someone's finger off and then eats the rest of them, and it was pretty graphic. And my friend was just like, "And we're done, and never watching any of this ever again." It was so horrifying. And then the
yeah, I mean,
sweetest,
she's
quietest girl
a
I've ever
zombie.
known told
Yeah.
me to go watch it, and I'm like, "Do you realize how gory it is?" She's like, "I've watched all of it," and I'm like, "Okay." You're way darker than I am. That's nice.
Yeah, I'm surprised she watches it. That's weird.
Yeah, no. Our mutual friend does not watch that anymore. She was the one who was
Oh,
absolutely
I thought you
horrified
said
by.
that she watched the whole thing.
No, one of my other very
Oh,
sweet
your
Meek
other
friends
friend.
that you
Oh,
have
okay.
not met. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said our friend again. I'm like, wait, now I'm confused.
Nope,
But-
nope. That would have been confusing. Sorry about that.
Going back to the virus, though, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they don't know why the virus is happening. So, I'm pretty sure they don't. I think they think it's airborne or something, but they don't know why everyone has the virus. They actually
Now,
had a
is-
part of it where they were trying to find the cure too.
And that's what I was about to ask. Is this a TV show focused on we're finding the cure, or are they just like, meh, technology's so bad, there's no way we're going to do it, let's just try to survive?
Yeah, I mean, like a season worth of them trying to find two seasons. They had a part where they went to a military base. They thought they were going to be able to find the cure there. The guy basically said there's no hope and started to
Oh,
blow
good.
up the building while they were in it.
Hey,
Yeah.
nice guy.
Yeah. And then there was a part where this guy said that he knew the cure. He acted like he was super intelligent, and these two military people were taking him to a place where he could develop the cure, essentially. And they found out later on that that guy had been lying. He was nothing like that. And he had put on this whole persona in order to make them think that he, basically so he could survive, because they were strong individuals, they're military people. So that kind of got Rick's group involved with them. So that Abraham was one of the military people.
Okay, got it. So we have the virus. We don't know why the virus. So does this change? Like, are people burned when they're killed to make sure that they don't rise again, or is it just like, well, we'll throw your body over the wall and fight you tomorrow, kind of thing?
Shot in the head.
Shot in the head. So
Or
bullet to the
burned.
head stops it.
Yeah.
Okay, good
Yeah.
to know. So what are the major ways of killing the walkers then? Sounds like shot in the head.
Guns. They
Okay.
tend to use guns a lot. They have a lot of guns, which is surprising and they use cars a lot too, so.
Okay, do they ever use cars to mow down zombies?
Yeah, they tend to armor the cars though, when fighting other locations, other civilizations. So I think the cars aren't used too much to mow down the zombies, because it's not very easy to go through a herd of zombies and not get stuck or get like a bone in your tire, or
I don't, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, so katana is what Michonne uses, and guns, essentially.
Is there any part of the body that you have to remove? Like, is it just lop off the head and you're good?
You lop up the head can still be alive.
Oh, so maybe a little bit more slicing and dicing to...
It has to hit their brain, essentially.
Okay. Damage the brain is crucial. Got it.
The reason we know that the heads can be alive is because one of the villains in one of the seasons, who is the mayor of a town that I can't remember the name of, had a closet full of heads in a jar. Walker
Eep!
heads.
So nice to know that people get good and morbid in this post-apocalyptic setting. Good Lord Almighty.
It can be morbid.
Very graphic. Shocker. So is that part of the show? Is the makeup to really make this graphic and horrifying and icky and bleh? Is that part of the appeal?
Yes. For me personally, the appeals, the storylines, the relationships they have, the development, the surviving. I don't think like the gore is like the biggest thing for me. The twists and turns are kind of a big thing for The Walking Dead, suspense.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pretty good at like doing things you wouldn't expect. But then after a certain point of watching them for a while, you kind of knew what they were going to do. So, and then it got kind of boring and they just kind of became stagnant and not moving forward.
Okay. Now, everybody who's watching, if you still watch Walking Dead and you think Bre is crazy wrong, please feel free to comment below and tell her which season and which episode she needs to jump back into the story, so that way the plot hasn't moved from the last thing she watched, but they're done with all these like one-offs and she can actually watch the story again, just in case it gets good.
Yeah. Yeah, let me know. I mean, I'm not saying the last season I watched with Negan was like horrible. I just don't have the same passion for it that I had, and it was just Negan was a very good villain, honestly. Like out of the series, he was one of the better villains. Manipulator, kind of crazy, but like he made you have the feel. It's like that villain when you have the feels for him, but you also don't like them. That's the type of villain he was. He could hit you on both levels, kind of like Thanos from Avengers.
So relatable and understandable, but you can stand back and go, yeah, no, you're evil. You're
absolutely evil.
Understandable but bad.
Absolutely evil. Yeah, essentially.
Okay. So now we've talked about a couple of the bad guys. Are there any other really significant baddies that we should know about?
We talked about Shane,
Negan, and the Walkers, and that's all I got so far. Anybody else?
I just want to look at the character list and see if there's... Oh, well, the governor is what I was thinking of, not the mayor. The governor was the guy with all the zombie heads.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess he's probably not a good guy.
He was an annoying little crap for a few seasons.
Blech.
And yeah, I think those three are like the main villains that we've had. Yeah.
Okay. On a lighter note, it sounds like we've got at least a couple of romances that are pretty significant, like the Laurie, Shane,
the trio.
Laurie, Shane, Rick trio. And then we've got, it sounds like Glenn and Maggie. Do we have any other major romances?
Yeah. And before I move on to the other ones, Glenn and Maggie, Maggie did I tell you Maggie got pregnant?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that made Glenn's death really hard to like know that she was pregnant and him to die, especially when they were just so in love and they wanted to get married and everything. Just their relationship was probably there's always one relationship that you just love the most and like everyone just idolizes. That was probably their relationship. So it was a huge hit on this series for them to get rid of Glenn. Another relationship was Rosita and Abraham. Rosita and Abraham are the two military people. They had a relationship. He did move on though, so he wasn't with her. Kind of an interesting relationship that's not really a relationship is Carol and Carol and where is he? Why am I forgetting his name? Oh shit. Dude,
the
I
eyes of the
know
world
his
are
name.
upon you, Bre.
No, where is he?
Wouldn't know.
Carol and dude, I know his name. Like he's one of the major characters and I can't think of it right now.
Daryl?
Daryl. Yes, thank you.
Really? I just guessed one male name we hadn't said in a while.
So I think that's like the relationship that everyone kind of wants to have happen, but doesn't happen. Because Carol's like, she looks like she's probably 50. Daryl looks like he's maybe 35, 40. And I don't know, they just like, they're obviously like a big age difference, but they just like have this weird little romantic relationship or like huge friendship where they just want to be there for each other and they kind of feed off of each other. And he's not her savior in a sense, but he's just like there for her and she's there for him and she's a little badass and he's a badass. So I think people just really want to see them together. So that's kind of a relationship that's pushed in your face but doesn't happen.
Kind of a will they, won't they situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not even sexual at all. It's not. Like, it's not like she flirts with him or he flirts with her. It's just you like their relationship together. You like their friendship. You like how they are on each other, how they're always looking forward to see each other type thing.
Well, that's wonderful. It's nice
Yeah.
that there's some positive, good things in this mix of horrible you're telling me about.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like there's nothing magical, mystical, otherwise about this show. It sounds like it's pretty based in reality, and the zombie virus is just that. It's a virus that we don't totally understand. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, significant weapons we've talked about. Is there any like popular music or anything like that that came or was used in this? Or is there like a famous theme song or something that shows up? Or is it
Their
normal show music?
Their intro. I mean, but I don't think about their music much, so I don't think so.
Okay.
There's nothing
Some shows have
huge.
amazing music or amazing things that just kind of stand out and are used all the time. So it sounds like this one doesn't. Just wanted to ask.
I mean, I do like the intro to the show. Like, I like that music. But it's not anything spectacular. It's not like singing or there's anything extra they put into it. I think it's usually just background music.
Okay. So I feel like I know the show pretty well. Is there anything else that you can tell me about the show that you think, oh, hey, you didn't ask, but you need to know blank?
Give me a second to think about it.
Ooh, I take it back. I do have a question.
What?
Why do they keep moving? You said it's based on all these different locations as the group kind of goes there. Why does the group move? Why does that keep happening?
Usually they move on when a horde of zombies have, most of the time it's been a horde of zombies have broken through the base. So
okay.
Like the first one zombie showed up in the forest, second one was slightly bigger horde, and then this was on the farm. They had gone to the farm because I believe, Carl had got shot when someone was hunting, and the person that shot him was on the farm with a doctor. So they went to the farm, and they were keeping the people that they loved in the barn that were dead. So they had been hoarding the people that they loved, hoping that they could find the cure one day. Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can kind of understand that on a human level where you're like, you don't want to give up on them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so those got out, so then they had to leave there. Prison was a place that they stayed. That got overrun. They got through the fences. And, but that's when it started happening where people were influencing their moves and where they stayed. That's when the evil guy, the governor, had a group of people and they were fighting there. That helped the zombies break through. So each time they're kind of moving on because of zombies / more towards the end, people coming in and fighting them, battling, destroying their home, people dying, etc.
So, just out of curiosity, was when they left the farm, so all these loved ones make it out, kind of, or get out, and was that a really traumatic episode because people are then having to kill all these people that were supposedly loved ones, and it's just like hard on everybody?
I remember, and it was a while ago when I watched it, but I remember I'm pretty sure it was slightly traumatic because, oh, no, yeah. So I think I remember now. When the zombies came out of the barn, it wasn't
Hmm.
because of the overrunning. It was because someone let them out, and so they had to shoot them all.
Oh
So that was a very
man.
traumatic experience for the people on the farm, but all those shots and everything, all the drama brought more
Hmm.
zombies in, and that's when like the horror took over.
Now, is that someone evil or was it accidental that these loved ones got out?
No, that was on purpose. They had found out, and I think it was Shane that opened the door. Um, they had found out that there were walkers in the barn right where they were staying, and they basically were like, "Well, we can't have this," um, and forced uh, the doctor into having to watch his family die in actuality.
God, that's awful. Shane sounds like a dick.
He was yeah, like you saw it coming because he was going crazy. But at the same time, if you go forward into the seasons, Rick might have made the same call.
Hmm.
Like knowing what they know now, knowing what if they knew what they knew now back then, they might have gone too dangerous to have around. We need to make cold decisions to live, to survive. Because Rick's character development is, and maybe it'd be good to discuss some of the character development. Like
Yeah, go
Shane
for it.
was a protector. He was there for the people, for Lori and for Carl. Wanted to be the leader. Then Rick came in, and that kind of threw him off kilter because Rick was starting to want to lead, and I think Shane didn't really know his place. Then he didn't have Lori anymore,
It's a lot of
and
loss all at once.
yeah, and I mean, and you're in this Walker world, so that's where I think the craziness and like the development kind of came for him. Rick was a good leader, but not very strong leader. He grows and develops. He experienced losses, makes him colder, and a lot of this for people in the series and this show was about them experiencing losses, getting colder, and how those losses and how the dead and being in a post-apocalyptic environment would affect you and what you would expect to see, where people just start to get ruthless and um, not fuck around. So a lot of the characters towards the series where I ended were at a point where they would defend themselves and kill people and not blink twice about it.
So why did the show switch towards okay, we now know what to do about the walkers. Now we're going to go fight people. It sounds like are there enough people still around that it's like, "Oh yeah, we can just start killing these guys off. This doesn't matter."
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a weird thing. I think that's part of the reason it was a weird transition too, because they made it seem like there was no one, like a lot of people were gone, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden there's these civilizations that were just popping up everywhere, and that was a real battle. So I feel like that was part of the weird transition. I think that, well, I know for sure that Rick's group's not choosing to fight people necessarily.
Mhm.
It's the fight being brought to them. Um, People want what Rick has, or they want to control him, and it's just there's evil people in the world. So like Negan wants to rule people, and he thinks his way is the best, so he's trying to force other people to do what he wants them to do, you know.
Okay.
And that's
Mhm.
how they get their supplies, is by fear, intimidating. So it doesn't surprise me that the world would become that way. I just don't think it was the best storyline to do over and over and over again.
Okay, so it sounds like the things that the civilizations are fighting over is, supplies. It's basically we've got a whole bunch of people here we got to keep alive. We're going to take it if we have to.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. And some people will always land on it's easier to take it from those that worked for it than go and work for it ourselves.
Right,
Or
and
it may not even be possible to work for it yourself sometimes.
right, and most people have experienced so much loss that they become cold, heartless, and they've had to
Okay.
murder someone, something. I think it's just saying basically like the world's so crazy, it's like Fallout. It's like Fallout situation.
And when you watch enough trauma, eventually you're like, all right, and now I am cold and angry and hate everyone and will do anything because I'm just filled with misery. Okay.
Right.
Got it. So, one of the major adaptations of this show was into a video game, correct?
Yes. I don't know if they like directly. I don't think they directly pulled from the storyline, but yeah, The Walking Dead they made into a video game. It was not directly pulled from the show. There weren't the same characters or anything. They're different characters.
Really? So they have different characters, and but it's the same world, essentially.
Yeah, they're dealing with walkers basically.
Okay.
It's Telltale Games, and
Mhm.
do you know what Telltale Games are?
So we've talked about it before on the show, and I believe if I remember correctly, it's choose your own adventure style games. Is that right?
Right. Yep. Yeah. So the graphics are really cool. It's a choose your own adventure, and one of the biggest thing about the Telltale games that made it such a good video game, it was a story based off of a middle-aged man who wanted to protect this girl. He basically found this girl in a house. She was waiting for her parents to come back. They didn't come back. I believe it was the babysitter had died, and he saved her from a zombie, basically, and she just followed him. So the whole story becomes him protecting her, him teaching her how to survive in this post-apocalyptic world and be like, you won't always have me. Who knows if I'll always be here? You need to prepare yourself. So it kind of, I think, played on the whole Carl aspect of the normal Walking Dead series, the TV series, where like you feel for a kid, you kind of like, oh no, Carl is experiencing this. Carl lost his eye because he was shot. Carl got shot when they went hunting. Like you feel Carl got shot a lot, by the way.
Jeez, is it just because we love the drama of a kid fighting for his life? That's horrifying.
I think so. Because Carl
We're
died.
dark people.
Carl died too. Like, I think that's another thing.
Oh God.
Yeah, that was another thing where like, I think that they were playing too much on the Carl thing, and it's like you make me think he's died like 3 times now, and then you actually kill him. Like, don't fucking do that. Like, it feels like you're being manipulated with because they know that it gets to you. It's like, if you're gonna kill him the first time or the second time, sure, but not the third time. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So they ended up killing him off because he got bit by a walker. It's hard when you see him go through all that stuff and then he dies. So I think that I don't know, that's why Telltale did that, but that made it a good series, having to play as a little girl, having to play as the guy, and trying to save her, help her live. And at the end of the Telltale series, spoiler alert, if anyone is going to play this, cover your ears. Do not listen. Are you going to play
We'll wave really big when you can come back.
Basically, at the end, he dies. He gets bitten. And he dies. And then she also, I think before he dies, finds her parents, but her parents are walkers. So the series becomes just her adventure through it all. And actually, like I was saying, they do play off of kid things, because then further on, one of the people she gets with has a baby and they die, and she has to raise that baby. So I think that they know that playing on the feels really gets you into it. But I think the series is really good. I think that they set it up really well. It's a good storyline, and that's what made The Walking Dead good too, is having those relationships, building on those relationships, and then losing people. Not that you want to lose people, but losing the people that matter, seeing them have to go through that and then develop further.
So it sounds like this is primarily a story about maybe not the resilience of the human spirit, but I'm trying to find the right word. Just the survival instincts of people, and how if there is an ounce of an opportunity, we're going to form relationships. We're going to form, these deep, caring like real soul binding kind of relationships with each other, even in these really horrible settings where danger is around literally every corner. And that's the story that people are tuning in to watch, because on top of kind of the realness of that, there is also amazing cinematography and really good makeup and gore to make this pretty believable, pretty interesting. And is that a fairly accurate view of what's going on in the show?
Yeah, I would think so. I think that it definitely is saying that even in the worst situations, even in the worst times, this is what gets us through life. And maybe you can also apply it to your own life, where it's like things may be bad, but you have these people around you to help get you through things. And yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's playing on, your emotions. And like, even though they're in the worst of situations, they still find love. They still have babies. They're still having kids. And that's even big discussions they have. Like, is it really even worth having a kid? Do you want them to be raised in this environment where they lose
Knowing what will
people?
happen. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's really interesting. And that's one of the natural consequences of loving people, is kids will eventually follow no matter what you do. And my guess is post-apocalyptic world isn't, real strong on the birth control options.
No. I thought you were gonna say Pokemon. I'm like, what is Pokemon? What?
No, I was just stumbling over my words for fun. Sorry about that, Brie. Okay. So I think I'm almost ready for the quiz. Is there anything else that you want to talk about further? The game or other details that you think are really important that I may have missed?
No, I just really hope someone out there can say that The Walking Dead's gotten better.
Yeah, if it has gotten better, please, please tell Brie. Please comfort her in the comments.
I mean, I have physical proof where like we were reacting to the Walking Dead series on
Hmm.
Darkstar, and we stopped reacting to it because it wasn't good anymore, essentially. It wasn't worth the reactions.
Oh, wow. Okay. Man,
That's
I didn't
like
realize
that's more
that.
the proof to me, because it
Hmm.
wasn't getting the viewership like it was, and then it started not. I mean, it could always be us, right? But we have other content that does decent, so you would think that maybe it's not.
Yeah.
But you never know. But that's what I
Yeah,
kind
that
of base
makes
it on, because I feel that way, so maybe that's why other people didn't want to watch it as much.
that would make sense. Well, okay, Brie. If there's nothing else you want to tell me, are you ready to quiz me and see if I learned anything?
Dun dun dun. Okay.
Woo! Let's do it.
Look at these. I'm like, there's no way she won't get these. How does the Walking Dead virus spread?
We're not totally sure, but the guess is currently airborne.
Hmm. But also, is it like, where is it right now? Like, can people, may not form the question the best, but like,
Oh no. It's in everybody already.
yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Who's the leader of the group at the start and the middle and the end of the series that I've watched?
Hellballs. So start, I'm gonna go with Shane technically,
Yep.
and then Rick.
Hmm.
And then I don't know that Rick ever died, but we've seen a few other people rise up as leaders. Like everyone you mentioned rose up as a leader at some point. And so I'm going to assume it goes Shane, Rick, and then God, I'm literally picking from a hat here to try to get the last one. He's dead. I'm gonna go with Daryl.
When I said they all kind of came into leadership positions, that's not true. Like, true leadership positions. The last one
Mm-hmm.
would be really Maggie. Maggie took over
Oh, I
the
almost guessed her.
the leadership role.
Mm-hmm.
Rick was still kind of leader, but Maggie also became the leader of a different civilization. What is the reason the Walking Dead series started to die and get old and boring?
Because they got real focused on telling stories that nobody cared about.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
What makes the zombies strong in this series?
Nuts. I have no idea.
I think you do.
Um,
I
I'm gonna
think you
guess
do.
eating people.
Herds.
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, so kind of like what over time did zombies develop to make them like stronger,
Mhm.
scarier, etc. Okay, yeah, the herds.
Who
Yeah.
who is the badass sword wielding bitch in the show?
Uh, Michonne.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at how I spelled it, and I guarantee you that's not how it's actually
No,
spelled, but I had no idea how
probably
to
not.
say it.
Do you want me to go over the original ones, or? Like the first
Oh,
ones, I thought we had to
you
go
did
back over.
actually. You answered those when you gave them to me.
Yeah,
Whenever
okay.
I got it wrong, you
I thought
immediately
that
told
we
me the
go
answer.
back over them and you see if you can remember them, but maybe.
Oh, yeah, no, go ahead. Let's see if I got any of them.
Oh, okay. But these are probably easy. What is the Walking Dead TV series based on?
The black and white comic.
What popular meme came from the Walking Dead series?
Carl! Well, not that Carl, but a different Carl.
Carl. What spinoff was created of the original Walking Dead series?
Oh, I wrote this one somewhere. This was Fear the Walking Dead.
What is the best choice of weapon in a post-apocalyptic world?
Swords.
What year did The Walking Dead first air?
2010.
Do you think you're going to watch the show now?
Well, probably not. Zombies aren't my thing. The only zombie show I've really liked was Zombieland, and that absolutely blew me away because it was hilarious. It was unexpectedly funny. And we've got, in my opinion, we kind of have an oversaturation of post-apocalyptic media right now between video games and movies and TV shows. Like, I can get as much post-apocalyptic crap as I want. Even books, I can find as much of that as I want. And there's more of that than there is other options from my perspective. So given that I know this one's going to go to a place that's kind of dark and also maybe get to a place that's not so great, and it may get better, it may not, but it may go to a place that's not great and it may get really boring. It doesn't sound like something I want to invest 4, 5, 6 seasons in to find that out.
Yeah.
But would you recommend people go and do that?
I recommend people watch the first 5 seasons.
First 5 seasons. Okay.
But I don't know if I'd recommend further than that. I absolutely 100% recommend that people play the Telltale series because I love those kinds of series and it's a really good video game.
All right. Well, I think I passed your ending quiz. What do you think?
Yeah, you pass.
There are a couple that I didn't quite
get. I should make you fail for not getting one right. This is 100%.
Yeah. Worst grading scale ever.
Hey, nowadays you get an A for effort, so
yeah.
you don't have to actually be right.
Well, if you like this content or if you have any other ideas about shows, video games, characters, anything that you'd like to see us or anybody else in the Dead Funny cast go ahead and review, then please go ahead and like and subscribe. Also turn on those notifications. That way we have the opportunity. I look really stupid in that. Please turn on the notifications. That way you guys know when to come to class. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye, friends.